Hello,
Off to
everybody.
work we go. So my play today is actually going to be right along those lines, Cage. I think you were
God.
singing the song from the Seven Dwarfs.
So
And off to work we
your play
go.
is Muggsy Bogues.
My play isn't Muggsy Bogues, but first I'm going to welcome you guys back to another episode of Lucas Tigers and Bronze Oh My. Today's going to be probably the last, daily show for a week or two as we unwind the 10 for 10. 10 guests in 10 days. It's going to be super fun. And got to give a shout out to all the guests who've already agreed to do it. We have some amazing names: Bleecker, Starstock, Collectable, HGA, Coffee Breakers, Jay Lee, the podcaster who just about everyone knows. We're going to have Rips on. We're going to have Black Jaded Wolf on. We're going to have PWCC on. Karvin, the guy who's basically touched every $1 million and above card and created it. So this is shaping up to be a really, 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 really fun segment. And I'm really excited for today's show, Cage.
Well, listen, you just scared the shit out of people. They said this is going to be the last daily episode. So let's just make sure everybody's clear. We're still doing an episode every day. But this is the last time you just get me and Andrew. I mean, I like to think we're enough for you guys. But maybe we're not. Maybe we need to bring in some heavy ammunition, some big guns. And listen, you're going to see the post. You're going to see some graphics about this. You're going to see the post from Andrew. For those of you who might not listen to yesterday's episode or are not 100% clear, this guy is a lunatic. He really is a lunatic. I came home. You guys heard. I have no voice. I haven't slept in a week. I lost 7 pounds. All I want is a Whopper with some cheese, maybe add some bacon on it. I just want to eat like a fat guy. I want some soda. I want my own bed. I want to take a break, like everybody else who came home from the National wants to take a break. They'll disappear for a week. Maybe they'll go on vacation because their big event of the year is done. They've made their money. They've done their appearances. They've done what they needed to do. They got to see Ronaldinho if they're lucky, unlike us. It is what it is. But you know what this guy says? He goes,
I'm going to Disney World.
He says, "Job's not finished." He says, "Job's not finished. What's there to be happy about?" I said, "That was a good show. We happy. What's there to be happy about? Job's not finished." With a Kobe style of face. He says, we're gonna double down, we're gonna triple down, we'll quadruple down. You know what? Let's go 10x, 10 times down. So we can't just do a normal episode. No, we're gonna give 10 guest episodes in a row, still daily. You're gonna still get us every day, but some awesome stuff. And I think it's a great idea, and I hope you guys really like it. I hope you enjoy. It's gonna give kind of a hobby perspective, retrospective for how the show went, how the National went for different people in the hobby from different walks of the hobby. And then also, prospective on what they think going forward in the hobby, whether or not that, their outlook on the hobby changed, whether it was doubled down, whether it was supported, whether or not they feel better about the hobby after their experience at the National, et cetera, et cetera. So I think it's a really cool thing. I'm really happy that everybody we've asked has said yes, which is great. And I'm excited to do it, man. I'm excited to go 10 for 10. Let's go.
I'm going to be posting a template, guys. So if you want to be involved, let us know what questions you guys have. The people that didn't attend National, what do you want to know? I'm curious. But you're absolutely right, Cage. It's going to be fun. And don't I look happy?
Not really. You look like job's not done. I mean, I guess that's happy for you. As long as you have another goal to meet,
that's how Cage now greets me. It's true, though. Like, when you have a sense of purpose and a sense of responsibility, you get this feeling of enjoyment. Like, I can't stop. I won't stop.
This poor guy, he wakes up in the morning and I start spitting ideas. And he's like, oh, hold on, big fella. I got to get my notebook. Let's go. I feel so bad for him. He's like, let me take some notes here. So, sometimes you wake up in an idea mode. So it is what it is.
Well, I woke up with an idea mode. And so let me ask you a question. So streaming, what streaming services do you have at home? Or what streaming services do you pay for?
I have Amazon Prime, which comes with their streaming movies and TV show service, and I have Netflix. I do not have Hulu, and that's kind of dumb because I think for $11 you can wrap Hulu, ESPN Plus, and Disney Plus. But I have ESPN Plus and Disney Plus, and I think I pay like $10 for it individually, and I don't know how to switch from the two to like I have to call somebody, but Mickey doesn't pick up the phone when I call to like switch my 2 into a 3. Otherwise, I would have Hulu too.
So you didn't mention Disney Plus, but
I
Disney
do have Disney
Plus.
Plus. Yeah.
Oh, you do have Disney
Yeah,
Plus.
I have
Okay.
Disney Plus and ESPN Plus. I just don't have Hulu.
So Disney Plus is catching up to Netflix, and by a wide margin. So Netflix, clear-cut favorite, 4 or 5 years ago. Over this like little COVID period, Disney Plus has taken, I think it's 18% market share now, up from 9%. Netflix has 209 million subscribers. Disney has now 105. 2 releases recently, Cage. Black Widow just did 60 million on Disney Plus on a release, not movie theaters, just Disney Plus. This Jungle Cruise with The Rock did 36 million box office, 30 million in Disney Plus. There's that, and there's a ton of other stats that show Disney Plus is kind of taking market share from the big players, right?
Mm-hmm.
And why do I say all that? My idea this morning was to buy an old school Disney card. So I've been searching eBay for Disney cards, and I'll tell you what I found. Maybe you could help me kind of get to the bottom line.
Sure.
So all I did was search Disney PSA, and some really cool cards came up, Cage, and they're $11, $12, and most of them are under 100.
So when you say old Disney card, right? Old to you and some of our listeners is not old to me. There are Disney cards from like the 30s and 40s. There's also Disney cards in the 90s. So like 1991 Impo, the same company that made Marvel, they have cool Disney cards. There's a whole Disney set that had hollows, like the Marvel hollows. Yeah, hang on a second. You keep talking. Keep talking.
Go ahead. So the one that I was looking at that I think is super cool is the R161 Walt Disney Comics. And you have Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse, Joe Carioca, Wins by a Nose, Dumbo, Goofy. These are all like these really, really, really vintage looking Panchito, Minnie Mouse. I could pull these up, Cage, as well. But like Pluto Tries to Skate. And these are all super cool looking cards, Cage, that are $20.
Yeah,
are you going to your famous basement right now?
I went to the famous basement. Check this out.
Oh, that's kind of cool. That's really hollow. That's a Prism Silver before there ever was a Prism Silver.
Sorcerer Mickey, like Fantasia Mickey. You see that? It's only near mint 8. Little Impul, like I said, Fantasia. And look, I got the business card from who I got it from. He was at the show. Remember, I showed this guy. He was at the card talk table and Supreme Sales LLC. He's the one who gave us. We're expensive. He sold me the Lion, Tigers, and Bears Wizard of Oz card that I gave you as a little co-host. And by the way, I love these cards. So your card is cool. Check this one out because the movie just came out. Check this out. Little Tom and Jerry from 1971. Little Tom and Jerry tobacco style card from 1971. I have a whole bunch of these things. I love them. And they're really underappreciated, and you're right, very inexpensive.
Very inexpensive, right? So I'm going to pull up some photos here. Let's go Mickey Mouse. It's a cinch. Here, I'll pull up a few of these and do a screen share. Here.
You know what I like? You went Joe Carioca. You went one of the 3 Caballeros, which is I know.
Did I lose you, Cage?
3 Caballeros. The 3 Caballeros whole ride dedicated to the 3 Caballeros in Epcot.
So like look at these. Oh, this one did not go. These are a little small. Let me see if I can zoom in. I don't know why.
I just see a black screen.
Do you really? Is my internet a little bit bad?
I don't know. I just see a black. There we go. I see a whole bunch of computer screens. It was bad. It was there for a second. Now it's gone.
All right. Sorry about that, guys. Bear with me. So
Probably my fault.
This is never your fault, brother.
Yes, it is. Always.
So that's a cool card, no?
What year is that?
It says R161 Walt Disney Comics. And that's never ever going to be PSA 8 or 9. I mean, look at that. That's basically pulled out or ripped out of a comic book. That card was that one was $150 because that's Mickey Mouse. Let's go Goofy. Like here's a Goofy one, same thing. $89.
Wow.
And guys, I'm not telling you to get any specific one of these because I think we all had our favorite characters. Cage's is probably Minnie Mouse.
Hell yeah. Love Minnie Mouse.
This one's kind of cool playing tennis. But the point is, I mean, that's a $50 card. There's all of these really cool cards. And if you guys go up here, all I searched was Disney PSA. Okay. And I mean, here's Disney Blueback, Storybook Miniatures. from 1965. Like, that's a PSA 9 from 1965, and that's a $15 card. So play around with this. Take some time. This is fun. This is kind of like going through a comic book that you can buy in grades, and it's also an asset. But I think it's such a cool play that you could get below $100 that it shows to me if there's one brand, one reputation, the best storyteller in America, Disney is consistently towards the top. And even when they fall out of culture, like they did for a few years, they come clawing back. And you see it. It always has this nostalgic feel to it. So these cards, I thought they were so cool. It's not Kawhi. It's not Giannis. It's not LeBron. It's something that was a part of our childhood. And I wanted to bring it to people, and it's never going to break a buck.
You know what's funny? I mean, it's always a refreshing of the IP, you know. But in sports, one generation likes Jordan, the next generation likes LeBron, the next generation likes, you know, Giannis or whoever it may be. You know, in Pokemon, well, kids played with it in the 90s and early 2000s, and then they playing with it again, and it goes in and out of favor. Like they have that 20-year cycle, right? And sure, you know, my daughter grew up on Elsa, and that is a cool one. And maybe when she has kids, they'll bring back Frozen or whatever it is. But everyone goes to the parks. Everybody goes to, you know, sees the cartoons, and everybody knows who Mickey Mouse is. He's the face of the franchise. Everybody knows who Minnie Mouse is. Everybody knows who Donald Duck is. You know, you have that, what you'd call the Fab Five that didn't go to Michigan. But they're always going to be in style, you know? So I like this play. I like it a lot. It's not something you have to wait for a 20-year, you know, cycle to come back on. Disney has no cycle. It's just omnipresent. So I like the play. I really do. The difficult part of it is figuring out which one. And you gave a cool assortment, right? Because you gave ones that were $15 and not character specific, and you gave ones that are in decent condition where the top characters are $150. So there's enough out there, and I don't think a lot of people are looking at this yet, that you could really do some damage with these. So I like it. I really do. I think it's a cool play. And I'm a Disney nut. You
are a Disney nut. That's you have a trip booked at the end of the month.
What gave you the play? Maybe that right there behind me all the time.
Well, it's two things. I know how much you love Disney. My grandma, like when we moved to this country, my parents were working, so my grandma kind of raised me, and she would bring back VHS tapes of like Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Tarzan, Jungle Book. What was the one with the black Free Willy? Free Willy. She loved Free Willy. All of these movies, and she would like buy them in VHS, and it was like we made it. Like every week when she could afford to buy that tape, and like we put it in our VHS, it was like I was so excited. I was so happy. We watched all the Disney movies together. So there's that. Plus Disney Plus making a real run at Netflix. And some people probably who have both of them would say Disney Plus has a better assortment of content than Netflix does at this point.
They have a great IP. You know, they do. They have great content. And the new stuff is good. You know what I mean? Like they're now releasing movies on Disney Plus. Like, I know my family bought Jungle Cruise and contributed to that $30 million. I still haven't watched it yet, but I know
bought it. So you have to actually buy it through Disney Plus.
That's where they make the real money, right? So there's $30 million in Disney Plus. So Disney Plus is not only a monthly membership, but for movies that come out that you don't want to go to a theater to see, they get you to pay $20 or whatever it is, and you get access to that. It's Disney Premiere. So you pay for it and you get to watch it. You get to watch it. Pretty cool. And eventually, in a month, 2, 3, whatever it is, after people have stopped paying for it, it'll go on to Disney. It'll be on Disney Plus after they've rolled it out of the movie theater, and they'll put it on Disney Plus. They've got it figured out. And Disney's the majority owner of Hulu. Also, did you know that Hulu was split between 3 companies? It was like I think it was Fox, NBC, Disney, NBC Universal, and then like a 10% split amongst a bunch of conglomerates. So none of them had a majority share. Disney only had 30%. But when they bought Fox, they got Fox's 30%. So Disney actually owns 60% of Hulu as well. So
they're taking a playbook out of Nat Turner, who owns every business in the hobby. Yeah. Can you guys confirm if this is true? Does PSA really own Whatnot?
I don't know.
Is that accurate rumor?
I can't confirm. We heard a lot of rumors when we were in the National. I heard a rumor about Andrew, but I'm not going to share it here because, I don't want to get all kinds of complaints on Apple, with the reviews again when I use foul language. The one time I did in 400 episodes. But anyway, I'm just kidding. There was no rumor about Andrew. Let's see what else. So can I ask you a question? Because my play is sort of like like the overall play is kind of be nimble. But what did you think of some of the moves in the NBA last night? Because if you want a specific play, everybody knows I love Devonte Graham. I don't know that I love the move for him. I don't know whether he's even going to start. But if I wanted to make a couple bucks right now, $3.50, $4, you can buy a Starstock A of his Prism rookie card of Devonte Graham, right? And while you can talk about it, you and I already spoke about this, and you don't love the move. The vast majority of people out there who don't know about basketball as well as you do, and spacing and roles and whatnot, are just going to see that he's left a Hornets team, which was decent, as going to a Pelicans team so that he can provide assists for Brandon Ingram and Zion, and he's going to be on this, up and coming team that should move up the ranks. Most people are going to look at that card and say, okay, here you go. It shouldn't be $3, $4. It'll be $5, $6, $7. So you're going to be able to buy it. I have a couple of other ones, but the story here is that if you are watching the news and you watch these Woj bombs dropping and the rumors and whatnot, and you're on Starstock, you can turn a couple of dollar card multiple times into a few more dollars in your account just by never touching the card, never owning it, never shipping it anywhere, but finding those, Lonzo Ball type plays, which have all gone up. Everybody knew Lonzo was going to be a big name in free agency. Nobody knew where he was going to go, but I take the rest of the free agent names, take a look at who else left on that list and start seeing whether or not their team even has enough money to spend to sign them under the cap. And maybe, start grabbing a couple of them. So what do you think about Devonte Graham, and what do you think about that strategy?
So Devonte to the Pelicans. Let's just recap a few of these. Devonte to the Pelicans. Kyle Lowry to the Heat.
Yeah.
Lonzo to the Bulls. Chris Paul re-signed with the Suns. Amongst speculation that might go to the Knicks. Connolly back to Utah. Jimmy Butler is going to return. Dwight Howard to the Lakers. And today, Andre Drummond to the Sixers. Did I miss any there, Cage?
PJ Tucker moves from the Bucks to the Heat also.
Yeah. So let's
mid-level exemption. The Bucks are paying no luxury tax, even though they're like, I'm not the Bucks. The Heat are paying no luxury tax, even though they're like $30 million over the cap.
Because they have a lot of old men on their roster.
They have the bird rights on some of them. They have the mid-level exemption on some of them. So they've really churned their lineup, right? I mean, look at that lineup. Talk about top 3 team in the East, basically guaranteed, right? With Butler, Lowry, Dragic.
Dragic left.
Well, so they use his money to now re-sign Duncan Robinson, who I want to talk about in a second, because largest contract ever for a non-drafted player. And talk about some of the money. Devonte Graham was a second rounder getting all that money also. There are a couple of second rounders and free agent signings getting that money.
Well, so other sports are looking at the NBA Players Association. They're like, these players did well because, I mean, the NBA contracts are just insane.
Can't call them free agents. You got to call them expensive agents, I guess. But like Bam, Butler, Lowry, PJ Tucker, and who else are they going to put in there? They'll probably lose Kendrick Nunn.
Kendrick Nunn's actually an interesting buy, but in a world where people are joining super teams to try to win with 3 superstars, the Heat are going the route of no superstars and 12 very good veteran players. So here's how I'm going to talk about the Heat. They're not going to be very good with this roster, but if they could get Kawhi Leonard there, which there was, let's call it 3% chance, 1% chance, 2% chance, really small chance. If Kawhi goes there, because Kawhi wanted to pair up with Jimmy Butler. I don't say that just out of the blue. PG-13 and going to LA was option A, but he wanted to pair up with Jimmy Butler in the Heat. And he just declined his option. So, Cage, you looked at me crazy, but
I don't think they have the money. I don't think, unless they move somebody else now that they just signed. Would be. I don't think they have the money. They're over the cap already.
But with this roster, with the Heat, like what did they add with Kyle Lowry? Kyle Lowry is a similar player to Jimmy Butler. He could go off, but he's not an unbelievable offensive player. Duncan Robinson needs space to work. Tyler Hero regressed last year. Bam is a great defender and working on his offense. They're going to have to score in numbers. And in the NBA, sometimes that seems like it's a good strategy, but it doesn't always work. So, like, hopefully they're going to have, like, 5 guys averaging, like, 18 points or more. Great, but I don't see any one of their guys averaging over 25. And I don't know. That's an interesting strategy to win with. And I don't think if you just look at the recent teams, I mean, let me see how much Booker averaged here. Booker.
You need a superstar, huh? And they don't have one. Are they hoping Bam becomes that superstar?
I mean, here Booker averaged 25 points a game, 26 points a game. It's an interesting strategy. I don't see in today's NBA how you could win with that strategy, but it's possible. They're going to need one of the younger guys to really step up. Can Tyler Hero be really like a six-man off the bench that gets him 18 points a game? Can Bam start putting up 22, 23 points a game? I don't see either of those two things happening. Devonte to the Pelicans, I thought about it a lot more, Cage. I think him being a third option behind
Graham and Zion.
Yeah, I think it could work.
Well, he's a great passer.
He's great.
2 years ago, he was top 10 in the league in assists. He was, even though no one, And then last year, he couldn't be anywhere in the stat category because they signed LaMelo Ball, and they still had Terry Rozier, and they were really, heavy on guards. So yeah, I mean, it definitely could work, right?
We also had no one. This is like an important part. The Hornets had no one that played down low that could score. Right, like who did they have? They had the bald man, and then they had
Bismack Biyombo and Cody Zeller.
Yeah, like the two maybe worst centers in the game. But like when you say center, I just mean guys that play in the paint. Now you have Zion who plays in the paint, who's gonna get double or triple teamed, which is gonna give Devonte way more space on the perimeter, and that's gonna be good. So I actually could see that's probably my favorite move. Lonzo to the Bulls makes no sense to me. I don't even know what the Bulls are doing.
So I love the Graham thing. When you get to the Bulls, I want to reserve 30 seconds to talk about what Lonzo to the Bulls means for me as a fan and for a card perspective. But guys, Starstock, I think it was like $35 or $38 for a PSA 10 base Devonte right now. Right? I have a few of these. They're not for sale in Starstock. I have a few in my collection. But I think you're not gonna be able to grade a card for $30-something anymore. You can get a PSA 10. I know it's base, and I know that has all the connotations of it, right? You want to go Starstock A and pay $3 or $4, that's fine. I just think that's a good change of scenery for him, especially from last year when literally everybody forgot about him because of LaMelo. He's a good player. I know he's older. He's not somebody I expect to make the Hall of Fame, but he's somebody that I think could get some good run. I think he really makes Ingram and Zion better too. Right, because I think he's a good passer, man. He's a really good passer. So, guys,
he plays his role. He plays his role.
He'll play whatever they need him to play. Exactly.
Lonzo to the Bulls. I mean, none of these moves were.
So, give me the Bulls starting five now, right? Because then they got Vucevic. They got Pat Williams, right? They have Zach Levine. They have now.
Kobe White.
No, I don't. That one there, you still. I don't think Kobe White makes a starting lineup now. I don't think Kobe's in the starting lineup now.
Because Lonzo's a better three-point shooter and a better...
No, because they didn't sign Lonzo to put him on the bench.
And you don't think all three of them could play? Patrick Williams, Kobe White, Levine, Lonzo, and Vucevic.
We're forgetting somebody else who went to the Bulls. But I looked at it yesterday, and I think this really hurts Kobe White.
Laurie Markkinen.
I think this really hurts. I looked at their projected.
Alex Caruso could still come.
Yeah, I guess he could come off the bench also. But then I look at the money. I mean, you pay him for 4 years, $40 million or something like that. You know what I mean? That's they're giving these guys. I guess in the NBA, that's bench player money. $10 million a year.
Look, none of these teams is going to be a contender at the end of the year. What one of these teams could do, and this happens every year in the NBA, it's how do these player styles mesh? Right, because if we look at it at surface level, there's no big moves. But sometimes one piece like Alonzo added to a Bulls, which had a team that was really ISO driven, and now Alonzo could do a little playmaking. Maybe they sneak into a 6th seed and overachieve. Maybe they get a 5 seed. Like even the Hawks, though. Here's the thing: like even the Hawks had a superstar in Trae Young. Who out of these teams added a superstar? To me, the Pelicans are in the best shape. To me, the Pelicans from all of these moves are in the best shape. And the Sixers adding Andre Drummond, I don't understand the move. I don't understand. Is he like replacing what's his name? Dwight Howard, kind of a backup center to Joel Embiid? Playing with two centers, we've already solved. Al Horford and Embiid never worked. Remember that? How much of a calamity was that? And Andre Drummond, is he not the exact same player?
I mean, are they gonna provide spacing for him? Are they looking to do kind of like a JaVale McGee to Anthony Davis type thing and let Embiid play more of an offensive role and not have to be the guy who's playing defense and grabbing rebounds and having to fight down low and let him get a little bit of space for himself? You know what I mean? Is that what they're thinking? Like they'll have an actual center who does the dirty work. They don't want Drummond to do any offense, but Embiid doesn't have to pound down low all the time to get the rebounds. And, he can, Drummond get offensive rebounds. They can move Embiid to more of a Davis type role. I know this year Davis said he's going to play center, but that's the only thing I thought of with that. Like, maybe Embiid was like, look, I can't be, I don't have the energy to be banging with these 7-footers all day. And then at the end of the game, also being an offensive player, maybe this frees up Embiid to play a little back to the basket, maybe a little, outside the paint a little, maybe. I don't know. That's probably
a little bit of a goon squad. They're going to be the biggest freaking team in the NBA.
Yeah, pretty much. Don't they have
think about like
Ben Simmons, their shortest guy. He's a guard. He's like,
7'4".
Yeah,
they're monsters. So none of these moves really left an impression on me. I think that's
what move was the biggest one impression for me? Trae Young. That dude got paid. They got like $200 million, whatever the heck it was that he got, which is good. And I like to see a young guy doing that, right?
Luka's going to get his contract as well. Slovenia is just in the semis. They play France, and then Australia plays USA. So they said they're going to do it after the Olympics. So
makes sense in case he gets hurt.
2 more topics. I was listening to Guy Raz, How I Built This with Gary V. So if you guys didn't get a chance, it literally released this morning. So I didn't get all the way through it. But they were talking about this Jose Canseco card. Was that really like the Jose Canseco? That was the rookie card to buy like the 1980s?
Yeah. So Canseco was huge, man. He was the first player to ever do 40-40. And in 1986, he had a couple of really cool cards. He had, like a Donovan one with his little silly mustache. He had a Flair card, which had him on it with 2 guys. He had an 86 Topps Traded card. Canseco was huge.
What was his rookie year?
He was 86. So he had 86 Topps Traded, and he had 86 Donruss and Fleer. He came in. So McGuire's rookie is 85 with the Olympic team. But Canseco was big right before McGuire, right? McGuire came out 87, but then McGuire had that huge year and hit all those home runs, rookie of the year, 87. And the two of them were just the Bash Brothers, man. And Canseco was huge. I think he was dating like Madonna or some lunacy there as well, So like in the 80s, he was huge. He was the guy. He was on the cover of every magazine and that kind of stuff.
And remember, I'll ask you in a second. Remember, guys, Cage said LCSs couldn't sell Fleer 86 NBA boxes, but Canseco was the guy.
Oh, so baseball was huge, man.
How much was Canseco's rookie card? Do you remember?
As a kid, I remember it being out of my price range. I think it was like $30, $40 for the card.
It was funny because here's what the reaction I got. Like Guy Raz said that today on How I Built This with Gary, and he's like, "Could you believe the price of that Jose Canseco card then?" And I feel like we say that all the time in the hobby too. Can you believe how much the prices have gone crazy? But it's funny to think like now, what is it, 35 years later, that can you believe that Jose Canseco card was $30? And that seemed like an astronomical amount. So that was cool.
To a kid. I mean, we were kids then. That was a lot of money here. I mean, $30. I don't think I knew what $30 was then. I just knew I didn't have a card that was worth that. I remember when I got my Upper Deck Ken Griffey Jr. and that card looked like it was $75 or $100 after a while. And you're like, well, this is the greatest card ever. This is the best. And then, they kept printing them. But yeah, there were some cards where you just, you didn't have the wallet to get them. So Canseco, huh, Gary V? Guys, you want to laugh? Check out Gary V's Instagram page, and like every 3rd or 4th post he's in, his IGTV videos and whatnot, he's wearing a Bleecker trading hat. It's the funniest thing in the world. Bleecker Trading's taking over the world, man. It's amazing.
That's all I got for today, Cage. We got a few episodes we're recording with guests coming up. Any other topics? Any other ideas? Anything you want to say before we wrap?
No, I mean I think that's a good one, guys. I'm getting excited. A little basketball. I'll throw this one out there. One of our listeners posed a potential trade that he was about to go into. For me, it was a Durant rookie, the Black Border 1 PSA 9 in exchange for an ungraded Josh Allen autograph rookie, like a Contenders ticket rookie. The Allen is probably worth about $500, and right now the Durant was worth about $350 with $150 cash. So if you value both sides at $500, it seemed like an even enough trade. And let me tell you what I said, and I'd love to hear what you have to say, and then it would be great for the whole, community. You want to send us some messages, what you think, or maybe we could post kind of like, hey, what end of this trade is the way to go, right? What I said was that Durant, if you punch it in, the PSA 9 in eBay, there's like 50 of them sold every hour. Like there's no shortage of it, especially in PSA 9. It's a card that's easily replaceable for you. Not so much with the Josh Allen, and as as football season approaches, I would think that over the next month, chances are that Allen card is going to go up and the Durant card is not in the next month. The Durant card may go up as basketball season comes in, but it's sort of like a timing thing, right? So, maybe go back and ask for a little more, or maybe don't do the trade and instead hold the Allen for a month. Hopefully he doesn't get injured. And as people get excited about, season coming up, maybe that 500 becomes 600. You're able to buy the Durant for, 300, 325-ish, and now you're making twice as much cash for yourself. That was what I said. Curious about what you think and maybe what Luca Nation thinks. I mean, now is the time, I think, to be hanging on to football and selling it in kind of a couple weeks, maybe a month, as the excitement gets there. I think basketball still could potentially go down.
You've said this, though. Cycles start sooner now.
It's true.
So where my mind went is maybe counterintuitively, Durant cards go up in the next month, and Josh Allen cards, as season approaches, plateau, and then there's a sell-off.
Yeah, but we haven't even had like a preseason game yet. I think it's still pretty early on that. People still need to see him out there throw a touchdown pass to somebody, and then boom, oh, Josh Allen. I still think we're early as far as that goes. I think there's still one exit for that. And yeah, Durant maybe wins a gold medal, and that turns. But really, what sold this for me was it's a PSA 9 of that black rookie card. That within the price range that we're at now, there were like 50 of them for sale on eBay. So even if he does something good, and even if people are like, oh, I want to grab my Durant, one, this is probably not the Durant people are going to grab, and two, there's plenty to grab without it really impacting what we call the floor price, So that was my take. But you're right. The the windows for trading, preseason have definitely gotten different than they were.
Fantasy football. We've been getting a lot of messages about a fourth league because we sold out our first 3 leagues. Bear with us. This week's been a little bit crazy. We're trying to get the guest show 10 for 10 off the ground. Last week was national. Thank you, everyone who signed up. Thank you to Cards to the Max, and MBT Sports Cards Whale, who are really running the league from our community. They've taken a ton of initiative. They've helped a ton. So thank you guys. Really, really appreciate it. Just bear with us a little bit as we get everything off the ground, because in the next week or so, we'll let you guys know when the draft is, if we're doing the fourth league and all that stuff. We have a little bit of time, not a ton. So just bear with us a little bit on that fantasy football league. Okay.
Beautiful. Thanks, everyone.